Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, breathing, releasing, and letting go. Welcome to Tuesday Facebook Live. Good to be here with you. History of this Facebook Live goes all the way back to 1998 when it was a live conference call. So if you're watching this on replay, this is a little history if you're not aware. I started my coaching career in 1998, and I started off with a live conference call every Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That was a live conference call long before Facebook Lives. I then converted that call to Tuesday nights at 10:30 Eastern in 2000. Then from 2000 to 2017, it was a signature call called More Heart Than Talent Mastermind Call. And then in 2018, I turned it into Facebook Lives, and I've been hosting Facebook Live since. So today's Facebook Live is the Mastering the Skill of Qualifying. Some of you may have this old school CD set. I mean, it's even warped from use, and it's the only one of two I have left. So some of you may have this original set. It was produced in 2008. And immediately I sold over my first 1,000 copies like that, and then reproduced and sold almost 5,000 copies of that CD set. That was my top selling CD set of all time. That is now available on download on my website, goldenmastermind.com. And it breaks down the skill of asking, becoming a master asker. So you can purchase this on download at goldenmastermind.com. Now, in looking at the syllabus for today's Facebook Live, September 17th, and then here's the email that also goes out on every Monday. So if you'd like to be in my email list and you're not, feel free to go to my website, goldenmastermind.com. Thank all of you for being here this afternoon. This call is dedicated to becoming a master asker. It means you are very skilled at letting go of your anxiety about the outcome that has not happened, so you can be present in the moment and become very skilled at asking the questions in a sequence to effectively qualify the buyer, the prospect, the contractor, anyone who you're in conversation with. You are skilled at asking the questions. So I've asked a waiter before when I was recruiting and prospecting, "You seem like a sharp young man. Have you ever considered owning your own business?" And then the waiter tells me a story unrelated to the question I ask. As a master asker, you will understand that the supposed prospect avoided the question and told you a story, meaning they disqualified themselves. And the more that you are skilled at asking, as you learn to let go of your anxiety about the outcome, what happens to many people who do not understand sales, branding, marketing, closing, free enterprise business is they become overwhelmed about the outcome that hasn't happened. And they start worrying about the outcome that hasn't happened. And then that leads to avoidance, procrastination. And if this is you, this is what you learn to let go of. And you become skilled at qualifying the buyer by asking relaxed questions in a sequence through the repetition and asking the same questions over and over as you become skilled and become a professional and a master asker. These skills are applicable in any area of life as you learn to ask questions, because what you are doing and being is you are fact-finding, you're rapport building, and you're creating small talk. So on an airplane, you can be sitting next to someone and you can have command of the conversation by asking the questions. And he who asks the questions is in charge of the flow of the answers. And as you become skilled at this, you will see your results begin to improve in a higher law of average. Sales is the highest paid profession in the world, and it requires selling skills. The network marketing, direct sales industry loves to tell people that they're not selling anything, and I've always believed that there was a disservice because many people don't believe that they are salespeople when sales is the highest paid profession in the world. And asking questions is the main component of sales. And in selling, the objective is not to interrogate the prospect, but to find out in a relaxed conversation if the prospect is a qualified buyer. Do they see the value proposition? Are they looking for your products, services, benefits, and features? Do they qualify for it? Do they have the capital, the resources, the credit, or the money to purchase the products that you are selling? I mean, if you're a real estate agent, you're not going to show a house to someone who has a 550 credit score. It just doesn't compute. But you are going to show that house to someone who has a good credit score and has the ability to either borrow the money or is a cash buyer. A cash buyer, when someone tells you cash buyer, what that means to a sales professional is that the transaction has the potential to be smoother and quicker. In selling, you also want to understand what is the sequence of the products and services I'm selling. What is the buying time? In most sales, it can be a 1 or 2 call conversation. Then there's other selling modalities that requires multiple conversations for the buyer to have enough content and information to be able to purchase the product. Once again, this is objective about whatever you're selling. I'm a 1-2 call closer ideally, and I'm skilled at asking for that commitment in the products, services, benefits, and features that I sell on 1 or 2 calls. And 2 calls would depending on the sales model I'm in. But if the prospect hasn't seen the presentation, well, it makes it challenging to ask for the commitment unless you yourself are doing the presentation on premise in the first conversation, or you have a way for the customer to be able to see the presentation so you can ask the felt questions at the end of a conversation. How do you feel? And you're asking the felt questions. You're asking the emotional questions. How does it feel? Based on what you reviewed, how do you feel about our products, services, benefits, and features? And you don't ever ask people what they think, because then they go their analytical left brain. When you're communicating with people, the objective is either they're in their right brain or both hemispheres of their brain, or they're open to the purchase. Solely left brain, they typically will find a reason not to buy. They'll find the flaws. They will also be skeptical. They'll have to think about it, evaluate it, hesitate, levitate, pontificate, and they will often say, I'll get back to you. Now, when you're skilled at selling, you know what I'll get back to you. Do I have to decide now? I mean, there's a multitude of skills you master as you learn how to address objections. The main objections that you will receive in any selling experience is you'll receive frequently, this sounds good, but. So that's a contradiction. If it sounded good, they wouldn't be saying but. But when someone tells you it sounds good, but, you're going to receive an objection. The most common objections are going to be money, timing. They want to think about it. They want to know more details. So that's the person that their buying behaviors are based on facts, figures, logic, has to make sense. What's the ingredients? So that's the analytically egoic mind. And then number 5 is they want to talk to someone else. They want third-party approval. Husband, wife, significant other, attorney, accountant, someone else that they could seek advice from. The intuitive buyer sees the opportunity for what it is and is able to create a decision relatively quickly based on the value proposition. There's also the impulse buyer who buys because they have to have it. That person oftentimes will have buyer's remorse. And then there's the people that get hard closed by salespeople who aren't that effective, and that typically sets you up for a refund and or a chargeback. So those chargebacks and refunds are day killers. They can kill your day when you receive one of those situations. And certain times they're because the prospect was oversold, and other times it happens because the buyer has buyer's remorse. When you experience that, there is nothing that you can do. So here on this is the handwritten forum. And then this also comes out on email on Monday if you want to follow along with the 7 points. Every Tuesday Facebook Live, I cover 7 points specifically related to the topic that I am covering. So topic number 1 is letting go of anxiety, fear, and doubt. That means you're letting go of the future that hasn't happened so you can be in a relaxed body and you can effectively have a conversation with the buyer, qualify the buyer for your time, and find out if there's a comfort level, find out if there's a connection. You're virtually finding out if this is someone that you feel good about selling to or being in business with or bringing onto your team or onboarding, or someone you're going to have a relationship with that's going to buy multiple products from you. You want to be able to start to establish some of those connections early in the conversation. And that's, once again, you feel it and it's felt. You're feeling it. You feel that this is a good connection. This is a good buyer. This is a potential teammate. This is someone who I want in my circle of influence. That's all intuitional and emotional, and that comes from higher consciousness. That's not from your left brain. You're not analyzing it. That's the emotions, and you feel that this is a relatively good prospect for you to speak to. Not only because they're going to buy, because they are easy. You want people who are quality buyers, who aren't in conflict with themselves, and they don't have to be in conflict with you. You're looking for people who are warm, they're friendly, they're seeking what you have, they're open to your products, services, benefits, and features. They're also open to your input and your wisdom because you're a professional. If you're not a professional, then you're an amateur. And this is why sales is the highest paid profession in the world. And that's why it's important you take your career seriously. And it's your responsibility to be your best at asking the questions. It's your responsibility to be able to emit warmth and convey trust. And you're someone who's there for the prospect. You're there for the buyer. You're not just there to close the sale. You're there to create a relationship with the customer or the teammate, if possible, in the model that you're in. I used to sell yellow pages, and seldom would we get the same account the next year. It wouldn't be assigned to us. And in that profession, people would come and go. There wasn't a lot of stability in that era of time, in that type of sales environment. And so you want to be able to ideally sell to people over and over multiple products if you have multiple product lines. And that's a valuable customer to you who will also refer you other qualified buyers. And so one of the best leads that you will get is a referral from someone who likes and trusts you. And you earn that through the person that you're being and the person you become. That means you're dependable. You have good customer service skills. You have good follow-up and follow-through skills. Your word's your law. You follow through on your word, and you are a professional. And that level of professionalism will attract higher quality clients to you over a long career, and you will receive your share of referrals from task well done, from being a service-oriented, value proposition, delivering great value, sales professional, leader, mentor, leader grower, and leader of creating mentees. So this is all part of the same process as you become skilled at the profession of sales, the highest paid profession in the world. And then in asking the questions, you become skilled at asking questions in all areas of your life, not because you're inquisitive, because you're a people person. Not a people pleaser, but a people person means you have genuine interest in people, and you're skilled at fact-finding, rapport building, small talk, and you can bring up a conversation anywhere that you are, provided you feel that warmth or that connection. And when you're a master asker, you're a person who is very clear on the questions. The objective is not to get to the point. The objective is to see if you have a qualified buyer or a qualified person. Even the person next to you in the airplane, if you look over to them and say, "How are you today?" and they don't give you any eye contact, they look down and they go, "Fine," That's a person giving you a body signal that they're not open to the conversation. Or if the person just starts over talking to you, it's going to be your responsibility to be able to neutralize that situation and exit the conversation very diplomatically so that someone doesn't feel offended. And when you are in your own true humility, when you're very humble with this process and who you are and who you're being, you will seldom have conflict with prospects. You will encounter people who are off the wall at times. There are those people who are addicted to being right. There are those people who are very righteous. And there are those people who are very angry. They are the law of the few. Generally speaking, most of the people you encounter will either have some level of receptivity, or if they're not interested, they will let you know, and you can exit the conversation relatively quickly in a relaxed body, in ease. That is the objective. The objective is to become skilled at fact-finding, rapport building, and small talk, where you're creating rapport, you're creating goodwill and ambassadorship through the person that you are, through the energy you're transmuting and the energy you are emoting. So once again, in 2008, I created this product, The Psychology of Asking. You can find it on my website as a download. I mean, that was the era of CDs. That was a 10 CD set back in the day. I remember I did a live conference call, like the first week those CDs came out, for a large real estate educational platform. And I did a call for the owner of the company, who I'd known since 1996. He had about 300 people on the call, and I had 81 orders of that on the very first day that I had those. And that was back in the day when these were $199. So you do the math, 81 times $199. That was a relatively good day in the CD sales market. I mean, it was very interesting how CDs just did not convert into downloads. And so I had multiple CD sets. Some of you still have those from back in the day. So that content still is gold today. The skill of asking the questions. As I'm wrapping up here today, there's 3 key components when you are a master asker. You are establishing rapport, you are fact-finding, and then you're creating small talk to create the connection. And small talk is what you use to open the conversation, rapport is the connection, and fact-finding allows you to qualify the buyer, the person. I mean, it's applicable in dating, it's applicable in insurance, it's applicable if you're a coach, it's applicable if you're in the service industry, wherever it is. Asking questions in a sequence is an absolute skill set. And the more skilled you become, the more conversational you allow yourself to be. And as you are emoting and transmuting energy from love, bliss, joy, higher consciousness, you're going to have a much higher probability of forming a connection. But if you're in scarcity, poverty consciousness, lack, you have a lot of debt that you're holding on to, you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt. You're worried about the outcome that hasn't happened. You're worried about being rejected, and you're holding on to past events. Well, you'll telegraph a mixed message. It's like, hello, I'm a very anxious sales non-professional. Please don't buy from me. I'm not comfortable. Oh, you're not interested? Okay, thanks. Let's get this conversation over. I mean, that is what happens to many people, and that is why sales is the highest paid profession in the world. Become a master asker, a master connector, and watch your law of averages increase over a long career. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. You have an outstanding afternoon. I'm going to hit the record button, and this content will be available for replay. Great to see all of you on today's Facebook Live. Breathe, release, and let go.